This video is sponsored by Surfshark. About 1 year ago, I made my first ever ranking video of every Angry Birds bird, and at the time I somewhat jokingly stated I'd like to get to them all. To my surprise, the video blew up, and now a large portion of my audience are Angry Birds fans. My channel has grown a lot since then, and I'd like to believe I've gotten better at content creation since then. Yet, through it all, this series has remained. It's been along for the ride. We started with the main flock and wacky characters like Obama Bird and Mighty Basketball. We moved to Stella and Space with the ever iconic Ice Bird, took a detour through a completely different galaxy for Star Wars, and even gave those damn pigs a shot in the spotlight. Then brought it full circle with the creation of Stinky Steve, and my one true love, Sasha Lynx. I mentioned in the previous part all about Angry Birds Transformers that I didn't know if it would be worth it to go through literally every bird, but I know people out there want it, and truthfully, it would be pretty cool to pull off. So here's the plan. Our list is getting pretty short. As of now, any stragglers we've missed along the way that I know about will be ranked in order to hopefully make a somewhat conclusive tier list. What we'll be missing after today is a bunch of Angry Birds Movies characters, Summer Madness characters, anyone I don't know of, haven't heard of, or don't care about ranking, and Angry Birds Evolution. I kind of want to do Evolution at some point because there are some really funny and weird characters to go through, so we'll see. But otherwise, welcome to the final chapter of ranking every Angry Birds bird. Let's get started. For the first time since starting the series, we have newly discovered birds to talk about. Pretty confident the thumbnail is going to feature none other than the brand new fan favorite Drillbird. It's always been weird that Icebird was the sole new character that's really never been seen since. He wasn't explained, he wasn't given much time to shine, and then he vanished. At least he actually got the chance to exist though. A sprite sheet for Angry and Space was found, giving us a couple characters never before seen. We'll get to each one, but people have clearly latched on to the Drillbird the most. How could you not love this? At first it seems like it was meant to be a space howl, but was it? Other than the long beak, I feel like this guy is pretty unique. Besides, it's not the only new one we found. There's an unused ability in the game files showing us how he likely would have worked. I definitely get the hype, and it makes me sad to think he'll never be real. Let's give him the respect Rovio never could by placing him in S tier. When I first saw these, I assumed they were fake because I thought the purple one looked like the one from those old 3D animations that were stupidly popular on YouTube. He's also the main reason I think Drillbird wasn't meant to be Hal, cause look at this guy. This magenta bird is clearly unlike anyone we've ever seen. And other than the weird antenna thing on his head, he really feels out of place with the other space characters. I'm really confused by his data mine power as well. I feel like the whole black hole thing would be pretty self-explanatory, but he kinda just pulls objects around and disappears? It's probably unfinished, but seems pretty bad in this form. Personally, not a huge Blackhole Bird fan. Sorry, we'll have to put him in C. Apparently we had already seen versions of Snowball Bomb before now. It's a pretty blurry image, but he looks very funny, and seems to be more like a Snowball Bird than a new form for Bomb. Anyways, it's pretty clear that this was the prototype for Icebird. Other than Bomb's explosion, Icebird basically acts identical to Bomb. I think Icebird would be infinitely more useful that way, and if we ever got him in a new game, they should really consider doing that. As for Snowball Bomb's design, it's kind of like an inverted color scheme. The white and blue are cool, and it even sort of looks like his beak is a snowball too. Definitely glad we got Icebird instead, but I do think this one is fun. B tier. Let's also talk about the Space Chuck with his visor. I'm not ranking him, grow up! There's a reason he got the visor later on, I'll just say that. Maybe these birds didn't want to be found. Maybe they wanted to keep their identities safe. Maybe they wanted to watch HBO Max from space. Well, maybe they should consider trying Surfshark, the sponsor of today's video. Using a VPN is great for keeping your personal data protected, changing your virtual location, and my personal favorite part, unblocking content libraries on all of my streaming services. I'm already paying for Netflix, the least they can do is let me watch a regular show whenever I want to. You might live in a country where these services aren't available, like space, for example. Surfshark helps you change your virtual location, but you get to stay right where you are. Obviously, Surfshark is your best choice thanks to a whole 3 free months just by using my code JakeMiller. That's my name, please wear it out. Or just click the link in the description, that's way easier. They even offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so why not? Quit putting your personal data at risk and make the most of your streaming services by getting Surfshark today. Thank you Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to it. Weirdly, around the exact same time they added Space Angry Birds Reloaded, including space variant looks for each of the main flock members who never got to join. Yeah, they're just costumes, sadly. We'll never know what these characters' powers would be in Angry Birds Space, but I think it's cool and definitely my favorite thing that's happened since Reloaded released. Let's look at Matilda first, who's gone fully robotic. After seeing C-3PO and a silver C-3PO especially, I'm not blown away by this one, but I still like it. I think there's been a lot of hype surrounding the idea of these designs, so when it ends up looking perfectly fine, I can't help being a tiny bit disappointed. It is good though, and she's going in B. Can't say Hal is looking too hot though. I already despise the way he looked in the Reloaded art style, and now they made him a robot too. The neon digital styled eyes and highlighted beak definitely say this one though. You can't deny it looks cool. But the rest of him is just gray, dude. Think of all the crazy things they could have done with that beak. Hal should look insane here, but he just looks basic. Drillbird towers over this wannabe. D tier. And lastly, we got Space Stella. I think she's my favorite of the three, taking her design above and beyond any fan designs I've ever seen. She feels perfectly in line with the superhero looks of Red, Bomb, and Bubbles, even getting these really cool space rockstar shades. If you told me we'd be getting space designs for these three, I'd absolutely be the least excited about Stella. And now that we have them, I'm blown away by hers over the others by a landslide. I was originally gonna say A, but that's not fair. Stella deserves this S tier. Let's move on to the other birds found alongside the new space ones. I feel strange even ranking them, but I know people will riot if I don't. So a game was discovered called Angry Birds Hatchery, but the hatchery is crossed out and now called Island. It seems like a sort of extension of the original game, or maybe would have gotten unique levels if they got further into making it. Anyways, a loading screen is a huge shocker, just a random group of birds we've never seen before. The game allowed you to make custom Angry Birds, so I guess these quote-unquote unique ones are just examples of that. It's like the freak show of Angry Birds in this game. Some monster Frankensteined a bunch of Angry Birds together. Not only do they take design features from existing birds, but their powers too. So let's go through them. I have no idea what the hell these names are or why they're so weird, but the first one is Senor Redshark. If the sex episode featured Bomb and the Blues, this would be their creation. If you remember all the way back in the first part of the series, we ranked Bomb Bomb, a character that splits into three and explodes like bomb. I'm not sure which came first, but yeah, same idea. It's an OP power and a pretty mediocre combination of characters. I'm saying C. Then we have a Missy Goldcrest.
What the fuck?
It's literally just Yellow Bomb with a 5-head, dude. Its ability kind of just looks like a weaker bomb too. What's the point? To fill up F tier, I guess. But nothing is quite as insulting as combining my least favorite two flock members into one character. I don't think you're prepared for this gym shit. Here is Lady Grant. What sort of sick freak at Rovio made this? You think this is funny? I need a lobotomy. I need my mind erased. This is beyond cursed. Somehow, the power is pretty nice, working the same as Chuck but smashing glass easier rather than wood. It simply does not matter, dude. If there was a tier between F and Z, this one would be in it. We're moving on now. Why are so many of these combined with Chuck? Why are so many of these cursed? This one isn't so bad, but Round Chuck isn't something I ever wanted to see in my life. This is like Round SpongeBob in the Angry Birds universe. There's really no reason why it's so long either. I assumed it was Chuck and Matilda, but no. This one splits in 3 too. Not nearly as bad, but definitely putting Headshot in D tier. Lastly, we have my absolute favorite of the bunch. Reporter is just freaking funny and really isn't cursed at all. I love how huge he is with such a tiny face on top. I feel like Bomb and Matilda are pretty common love interests in fan art, so now you know what their child would look like. Explosive egg bombs is an awesome power on top of that. Reporter is the best, you can't change my mind. I don't think any of these monsters deserve a top tier placement, but Reporter can happily go in A tier. Our last new bird to talk about is actually new. We have yet another bird that originates from Twitter.com. I will never call it X, you can't make me. I've already complained about the exact problem with these characters when we had Joe, our other Twitter bird. At least Joe got to be a power-up in Angry Birds 2. Dusk's greatest achievement is being part of a comic strip. Dusk is a non-binary bird set as an allegory for a trans character. The problem is not that Angry Birds has progressive characters. If that's what you think, you need serious help. The problem is that these characters only exist for 1 month of the year, Pride Month. Rovio doesn't care about being progressive or inclusive, they just want to look good during Pride Month. It's sad, honestly. I don't hate Dusk, I just hate how Rovio treats characters like this, putting them in C with Joe. I swear to God, I planned on including the Super Angry Birds long before Chupo talked about it. At the time, it was one of the strangest things Angry Birds had ever done. But in 2024, Angry Birds has done plenty of stranger things than a superhero comic book. I guess what made it stand out was seeing the birds and pigs talk and just casually coexist with normal people like it's no big deal. It's yes big deal, actually! Anyways, the birds here are actually pretty distinct, obviously in design, but personality too. All of our favorite characters now live in New York. Money is now referred to as eggs, which is insanely confusing because what the hell do they call actual eggs then? Anyways, rather than a kingpin, we have a king pig, and our favorite team of crime-fighting superheroes is run by none other than Red Rammer. Wait, that's his superhero name? Sounds like a freaking innuendo out of context. All I know is that nothing goes harder than this image of Red shouting, "Let's kick some ass." Well, I assume it's ass. I'd be really worried if he said literally any other swear word there. Red is the leader, and sadly, really nothing more. He's a good guy, and he started the team himself, but really doesn't have any powers like the others. Apparently he's, good at ramming. Guys, I think this next episode 2 is about to happen for real. Red looks very funny with the super muscular body, and out of all the main heroes, I generally think he looks the coolest. I really don't care for the weird patterns on his arms and legs, but yeah, such an awesome character. A tier. Chuck is known as Chaser, and he's just like every hero with super speed. If you've seen The Flash, or A-Train, or Quicksilver, then you know what Chuck is like. He's always wearing his shades, rocking a sick mohawk, and running around completely naked. Well, except for that one time he dressed up like a pig, but then he ripped all of his clothes off in the coolest way ever. Chuck is definitely better here than in his normal form, that's for sure. B tier. Bomb just goes by Bomb, which is pretty fitting for his powers, I suppose. He looks really similar to his space costume, complete with a cape and flaming head. I suppose that makes sense, considering the comics were first made as a promotion for Angry Birds Space and only later got its own series. The yellow pattern on his sides is really weird looking, and I think he's pretty lacking in this form. Feels like he'd be the easy one to make even cooler here. I don't even know how they messed him up. He gets the least amount of attention in the comics too, so I really don't feel too bad putting him in D tier. Our last hero is, of course, Terrence. He's called Thunderbird here, which seems kinda dumb. Somehow just the name Terrence is a million times more threatening. He's awesome, he's exactly how you expect him to be, except he actually chooses to wear clothes when he fights. It's maybe the most badass form Terrence has ever had, but I think I'll always prefer the simplicity of his original design. Let's give him an A tier. There's actually an insane amount of random bystander birds in the comics, but most of them aren't even named, so I'm not ranking random birds seen in single panels of comics. Sue me. Matilda actually plays a pretty big role, especially in the first issue. She's rich, helping businesses in need, and keeping the greenhouse base for the Super Angry Birds. She's just an old rich woman with the romantic past of the Mighty Eagle. She's cool, I guess, just kinda boring compared to the others. I wish she got to be a superhero too. Oh well, C tier. The Blues got a much more fitting role as Newsies. I literally can't imagine them doing anything else in New York. I really love them here. They mostly just show up in a couple frames in each comic, but the last issue sees them as the main characters. They love Stella's singing voice and ask for the Super Angry Birds to help take out all the nightclubs in town. It makes sense if you read the comics, I guess. I realize now I sound like an insane person. I really like the Blues here, and the only one that actually got name dropped was Jake, so I'm happy. B tier. As mentioned, the fourth issue focused on the Blues and Stella. Stella is a beautiful singer who refuses to work with the pigs. By the end, the city loves her singing, and even the King Pig himself is infatuated with her. That's really the last frame of Super Angry Birds ever, by the way. Stella really doesn't look like her usual self, but I do like what they did with her character. Maybe if the series continued, she could become a Super Angry Bird too. She's fine. C tier. The Mighty Eagle runs the paper and helps protect the flock in the first issue. Compared to how powerful he normally is, he's kinda just a random guy in the comics. He doesn't even do his own work, he sends some random bird named Ray to investigate. I think the Mighty Eagle was done dirty here, just saying. Put this guy up next to the Mighty Bagel and we clearly have a superior choice. Speaking of, wouldn't it be amazing if Sasha Lynx was here too? Release the Lynx cut Angry Birds now!
Now, 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 now!
D tier. The first ever Super Angry Birds comic was made to promote Angry Birds Space, featuring every bird we just talked about in their space forms. Chuck's purple, Terrence is green, Red looks exactly the goddamn same, but we now have Icebird too. He's like the Silver Surfer of the group, and he looks pretty awesome. It's how we never got to see him in the full comic. This is literally the only image of the guy. Anyways, no, I'm not ranking all these, get over it. Who cares if there's a unique Blues that's just one blue? He sucks anyways. I'm putting Super Icebird in B tier. In my most recent Angry Birds video, I took an in-depth look at Angry Birds Rio. It was really great getting to revisit my favorite Angry Birds game, and in doing so, I realized there's 2 birds in there I straight up forgot to include. I said if the video got 5,000 likes, I'd do it, and hey, we got pretty close, so I'll give it to you. Go give that video a like as thanks. And this one too, of course. Up first is the Samba Bird, exclusively seen as a power-up. When activated, he makes objects near him dance a little samba and then stop, causing mass destruction. It's a decent power-up, although it is just red with some damn fruit on his head. He can samba his way down to D tier. The other bird I missed is Rocket Bird, which, honestly, that's fair. He's literally only in like 6 levels. Rocket Rumble's bonus stages all feature the Rocket Bird, who spins around after being launched and rockets forward when activated. It's way too hard to control, and he's too flimsy to commit to the direction you faced him in. I always just get frustrated using the guy. Besides, that's not Rocket Bird, that's just Chuck strapped to a rocket! You can't just put some goggles on a guy and call him new. F tier. Don't even get me started on whatever Firebird is. Just put him in F and move on! Remember that Jake or Fake episode where I said Knuckles wasn't an Angry Birds character? Wait, no one watched those. Okay, fine. Remember the first part of the series when we ranked Sonic? Well, good, because since then, Angry Birds was bought by Sega, and to celebrate, both series had some collaborations. The birds got to be in Sonic Rush, we got Sonic events in the Angry Birds games, and most importantly, we got Sonic characters and Angry Birds friends. Well, yes, I'd love to talk about Eggman Pig. He's a damn pig. Let's talk about some birds. Tails, Knuckles, and Amy. Sonic is truly one of the greatest birds on our list, and I'm so happy we can add his friends to the list too. S tier for all 3 of you, my favorite birds! In the very first episode, I meant to rank every Mighty Eagle variant. I really have no idea how I missed the Mighty Eagle. Whether you love or hate the Philadelphia Eagles, you legally have to admit their logo is pretty sick. And after getting the Hockey Bird and the Mighty Eagle already existing, it makes too much sense to also get this one. What you might not expect is that they made an entire Angry Birds Philadelphia Eagles game. In 2012, the game released, and new levels were added to coincide with the team's games that season. It's a cool idea. I would have loved to see them on a new team every year for this sort of thing. Anyways, the Eagle was basically just their logo with a jersey on and was summoned by a football. He looks really awesome and is just as powerful as the original. I guess we gotta give him S tier then. For some reason, I ranked every celebrity bird except one, a group of K-pop singers from VIXX, or VIXX? I truly have no idea. They clearly all have different hairstyles and personalities, so I find it a little strange that they're all the same color. Might have been a lot of work to make them all distinct, I guess. Still, it's just a pile of handsome birds I'm forced to place on a tier list now. Let's go with B tier. I literally wrote out the entire script and then, like a distant call, like a destiny being fulfilled, a character suddenly popped in my head I had totally forgotten about. Birddiepie! I feel like I've been edging you all with this character since I ranked Dr. Pig Respect. It's honestly because I keep forgetting he freaking exists. Other than the iconic color of headphones he has on, this just barely resembles PewDiePie at this point. He hasn't had that color of hair in forever, and I feel like he's never had a beard that looks like that. Dr. Pig Respect is spot on, so I find it strange how bad he looks. Oh yeah, and who could forget about Stella, my favorite female internet entertainer? The image with Birddiepie just has so many questions like that. Why out of every famous person did they choose these 3 people? Sure, PewDiePie is a huge YouTuber. Sure, Dr. Disrespect was a little popular, certainly not that popular, and Stella is not a freaking influencer at all. If this came out today, I think it'd be Mr. Beast, I Show Speed, and Stinky Steve. That image would go so freaking hard, dude. Birddiepie is just funny at best, so he goes an A, obviously. Let's finish things by getting the new birds from Reloaded dealt with. I'm sure many of you realize what that means, but before her, there's 4 different types of eagles. An orange one, a blue one, a purple one, and a red one with a fork. If there's more than that, my bad, but these are the ones I have images of. Alright, well, the orange one is boring, he's down in F tier. Then the purple one is a little more interesting, so I'll give that one D tier. Red fork guy confuses me and scares me, so he can have B, and blue is objectively the best one, A tier. Alright, it's time, people. Took me a whole 5 episodes of avoiding and making excuses, but there's one big Angry Birds character I still have not ranked. I probably would have just avoided it forever if she didn't show up in Transformers. Everyone give a cold welcome to my least favorite purple bird in the Angry Birds universe, Zeta. The most confusing and boring villain we could have had in the second Angry Birds movie should have showed up there and never anywhere else. But oh no, when the movie released, she invaded Angry Birds 2, Angry Birds Pop, Angry Birds Friends, Angry Birds Dream Blast, Angry Birds Regular Blast, Angry Birds Transformers, and most notably, Angry Birds Reloaded. Her appearances vary from being just a head to having a bit of a body to having a lot of body, and then whatever the hell you'd call her Transformers look. I really don't hate her design as a thing. The purple feathers are a really cool look, and although we've had purple birds over the years, there really hasn't been the purple bird before. I think at this point Zeta is unfortunately the purple bird, especially considering how many times she's appeared in Angry Birds Reloaded. She kinda looks the best in that style too. Feels like they finally got it right after so many tries. But that's the version I'm gonna be putting on the tier list. I'm sad we had to rank her, but it's sorta cool we got to save such a big character this late into the series. Feels like the final big flock member is finally finished. But just where on this massive tier list should she go? Well, there's really only one place she can go. Zeta can join her Transformer clones in Z tier.
Balls!
Actually, what the heck, that feels empty. Let's add every version of Zeta to Z tier and really make it special. Dang, even our plushie got in there. Alright, now let's finish this. Out of all the Angry Birds promotional games, one is the funniest. I don't know why, but something about the title Angry Birds Cheetos just brings a smile to my face. It's such a silly idea. This is a game, people, taken extremely seriously, as it rightfully should. The game features Cheetos galore, paw print statues, even Chester Cheetah himself. But the game went above and beyond by giving us a brand new bird. The one and only Cheetos Bag. I told myself I wasn't gonna cry. The Cheetos Bag is its own character with a unique power never before seen. Shooting Cheetos in every direction with a bomb-sized explosion is just incredible. I freaking love Cheetos! Of course, I'm gonna place it in S tier. If this is truly the final Angry Birds Birds video, Cheetos is the funny way to end it. But the real way should definitely conclude with the first Angry Bird ever. Before Red, before Chuck, or Bomb, or the weird gray bird, before anyone, there was George. Who knew this one drawing would evolve into the franchise we know and love today? I love the style of the drawing too, and it's very charming that they've never attempted to remaster it or give him a modern look. This is George, forever and always, and he's the best. If a bag of damn Cheetos gets to be an S tier, then George definitely should too. I have always loved Angry Birds birds. From the second I saw them, I've been obsessed with each new color, design, and style, and I was obsessed with drawing my favorite ones. I never had any idea there would be so many one day. The pool is certainly saturated, there are plenty of characters on here I truly don't care about, and there are, quite literally, hundreds more I either haven't seen or simply care so little about I refuse to place them here. I promise you, at this point, 95% of all the funny, interesting, and notable birds have been ranked. There's definitely some funny ones out there I've yet to see, but I really can't believe I planned on Transformers being the final video. How strange would that have been? Sure, 88 characters was a big event, but this feels much more fitting, doesn't it? All those new birds from Space and Hatchery were a big deal for modern Angry Birds fans. Super Angry Birds is really strange and funny, and I hadn't talked about it yet. Birddiepie? Knuckles the Echidna? Zeta? Feels like a dream team of characters to me. I just want to say as we end things here that this series has been amazing for me. So cool to know that there are videos I want to make that people want to see. Did you know the second part got more views than the first? People really love Icebird, I guess. I have loved every second of, well, almost every second of making this series. And it doesn't necessarily need to be a goodbye, but for now, it's gonna be a so long. I do want to one day make a mega video on the evolution characters. I do want to one day make a video on the movie characters. And we may get enough new birds at some point to make another edition. We'll see how it goes. Thank you to everyone who's been here since the beginning, and just know that Angry Birds videos won't be going anywhere. There's plenty to still look forward to. This series has only been possible thanks to my patrons and channel members. If you'd like to see this series have the chance to return someday, please consider supporting me in any way you can. Thank you Leland, Patrick Bayerjan, Hono Maki, Bright Streak, MD Switchy, Dolphinmire H2O, Dojo Master, Chrisop Creations, Lavatane, Jasper TV, Keep, Omegon, Galguy, Jet the Legend, HTA, Cheaper Ying, Al, Gotham, Marie, and Callum Ford. No funny business at the end this time, guys. This is more like a funeral than a stand-up bit today. Thanks for watching, and thank you Surfshark. Don't forget about the link in the description. Psst. Just to make sure the real fans out there pay attention, I saved the best for last. I think my Discord channel would shoot me if I didn't include Football Matilda. Happy now, the blackface Matilda has been ranked. You better freaking thank me. You should have known she'd go in F. Anyways, if I see literally one comment or Discord message saying I forgot her, you're officially a fake fan and will be shadow banned from the channel. Anyway, thank you, bye!